Hey guys, what's up? So I'm finally getting around to checking out some stuff from Synergy.
Promote synergy!
So stay tuned. Alright guys, so thanks to zZounds.com, I got a hold of one of these SYN-20IR amp heads. Basically a compact amplifier with an all-tube power section powered by two EL84s. It's 20 watts. It allows you to slot in any Synergy module that you want into the front of the amp to play various different types of amplifiers. Now, if you don't know what Synergy is, they specialize in creating these voiced preamps that also have a 12AX7 tube in them, but they have circuitry that emulates what the tone of the specific amp that you're looking for is. Now today I got two modules that zZounds sent to me, the DRECT, which is a dual rectifier style amplifier, and I got a PV6505 Plus style amplifier to check out. And first up, what I got is the DRECT in here, but I do want to talk a little bit about the SYN-20IR itself, just because there are some cool things on here that have nothing to do with the actual amp modules. So every Synergy amp module has typically two dedicated channels, and the SYN-20IR here has an onboard clean channel and allows you to switch between that clean channel and then the two channels that are on the modules that tend to be more geared towards high gain. If you look at most of the modules, you'll find that they're usually high gain amplifiers that have multiple channels or at least one high gain channel. But what is super impressive about this unit is actually its clean channel, and it's marketed as being kind of like an American Fender-y style clean channel. All I know is it's got a really good tone, and it doesn't require a whole lot of EQ. It's basically you have your volume here, you have your tone knob, and you're able to dial in however you want your clean tone. Today I just got this kind of budget LTD MH201 guitar. In the bridge, the only pickup on this guitar is a Nordic Pickups Pennywise re-release that isn't even available yet, so kind of a pseudo prototype. But I'm just going to play some clean tones real quick so you get a sense of what this clean amp actually can do. Yeah, so I mean, it's like the perfect clean tone. It doesn't get too like sharp and plinky up top when you turn the tone knob all the way up, and it doesn't get super muddy when you turn the tone knob down just to kind of darken it a little bit. And one of the other features on this amp head is the reactance knob, and that's basically a combination of your depth and presence that you would get on a normal power amp section. As you go to the right, it increases kind of the openness and the sagginess of the sound. Kind of gives you more of that like blooming, just kind of big sound. And as you go back to the left, you're going to kind of tighten up and darken up the sound. You know, you need to have something like that on a tube amp to control some of those feedback parameters. And that feature carries over from not only the clean amp here, but also on your gain channels that you get with any of the modules you put in. Beyond that, you have the power structure button. You have A, B, and C, and they all do different things in how the power amp reacts. A is like a very punchy, very just forward sounding kind of thing going on. It's sort of the default setting. If you go to B, you're going to get more of a softer vintage kind of reaction with the power amp. And then C is supposed to be kind of like a more modern, tight, but slightly rolled off on the top end, kind of dark tone. I tend to leave it on A. I think A sounds the best, but we'll get into that in a minute. So without further ado, I have the DRECT module in here. I have both channels set up, one for the orange on the dual rectifier and one for the red channel on the dual rectifier. And we're just going to start off with the orange channel and hear what it kind of sounds like going through this Mesa cab. And here's what I got. Now, to me, the orange channel on the dual rectifiers have always been kind of like just okay. I like them. They're a little bit more spongy, a little bit less scooped. And this kind of captures that round woolliness that an orange channel kind of has. And like with any rectifier amp, if you put a boost pedal in front of either of the channels, you're going to get a much more tighter sound. It's kind of necessary if you're trying to get into more modern high gain or even like thrash metal territory. Right now, I just have the modified Fortin TS9 on the 14 here loaded up. You know, it just kind of tightens up that bottom end. Yeah, and so if you play with the reactance knob here, you know, I'm going to turn it to the left to see how that sounds. It really does allow the presence and the overall feel of the amp to just come more forward when you turn it to the right. I prefer to have it up probably around 1 or 2 o'clock. If I go to power structure B compared to A or to C, then go back to A, and I'll cycle through them real quick. For the orange channel on this amp, I actually think B sounds pretty good. I might just leave it on B for a second. Turn the boost off, going back to the orange channel by itself. Mid control, scoop that. Mid, treble, presence, all these things work how you would expect. So, you know, if I want to turn the presence back, treble up, little woolly, turn the mids down, you know, try to get like a thrashy tone out of this. I could go back to the 14. Now on the module, when you have the module going, the volume becomes your volume. These volume and tone are only for the clean channel. But then the master volume obviously becomes your master, and you can use the volume on the DRECT module here to kind of push your preamp into that like full saturation territory, scale the master back. And if I go to something a little more modern, like the Dirty Tree here, with the, you know, the TC Electronics integrated preamp circuit. Yeah, you can get it to really open up into more modern kind of aggressive territory. I'm going to set it up how I think I like it. I'm going to get the mids a little bit higher up in there, treble back, presence up, bass in the middle, gain kind of in the middle-ish, maybe a little bit past. I'm going to keep the volume all the way up, and then the master kind of control there. Go back to the Dirty Tree. Yeah, that sounds pretty gnarly. So I'm going to click it over to the red channel on here. I'm going to set it up how my old Mesa triple rectifier used to be set up. Presence kind of in the middle, treble up usually, mids scooped back, bass in the middle, volume I'll keep there. And here's what I got. Red channel's a bit quieter than the orange channel on here, so I'll turn the master up. For the red channel, I like the power structure on A. Reactance, I'm going to turn up a little bit more. Presence up. Yeah, that reminds me of those old hardcore shows back in, you know, the early 2000s, late 90s. That's the rectifier tone I remember. Again, the red channel can be brought into more modern scope with a little bit of tweaking here. Presence back, mid up, treble up, reactance to back a little bit. Dirty tree on. Yeah, it can do the thing. So overall, with the DRECT module, I think this thing just sounds pretty fantastic. Even with an EL84 power section, it's definitely loud. I don't even have the master up, you know, not even a quarter, maybe a quarter of the way, maybe. Not even a third for sure. And it's definitely loud in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the 6505 and pop that in here, and then we'll play with that. All right, so I got the 6505 going in here. And, you know, obviously the clean channel's the built-in one, but here is the crunch channel on the green channel of what would be the 6505 Plus. Turn it up a little bit. Now, a lot of people like this channel with a boost in front of it, and I'm going to maybe turn up the gain just a tad, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw in the Fortin 14 with I'll go with the hex drive in front of the amp. Again, with the crunchier channel, I like that B power structure a little bit better. And then on the other channel, I have the lead channel, the red channel on the 6505. Now I kind of have it set up how I normally run a 6505, which I have right over here. I have the mids, the treble, kind of up in like the 6 to 7 range, and the bass I'm keeping in the middle. I could probably give it a little bit of a boost. Now, there's no dedicated presence on this module, so the reactance knob is kind of all I got here. You know, and that doesn't sound too bad. I don't know if it sounds quite like a 6505, so I'm going to go ahead and just plug in my 6505 and A/B it between the two using my Mesa head track. And we'll see kind of how the crunchy green channel and the red channel stack up to each other between the Synergy module and the real amp. So I have my 6505 Plus here set up similar fashion to what's going on here EQ-wise. With the crunch channel, I have the mid scaled back just a tad and no boost right now. And here's what I got with, you know, crunchy green channel on the Synergy. I'm gonna click it over to the 6505. Automatically, the Synergy has a bit more top end and a bit more gain already. And so I'm going to maybe pull the gain up a little bit on the actual amp itself. I'm gonna turn the highs up. Presence is already pretty well up there. I go back to Synergy. Yeah, the Synergy just has a drier kind of thing going on with the gain, even though I have the gains kind of matched. I think it just sounds like it has more, even though I don't think it necessarily does. It just, the power amp, the reactance on here, the way it behaves just isn't quite like the actual 6505. Now, if I go over to the red channel, so this Synergy just has a bit more of a little more high fidelity going on, I guess. It just sounds a bit more present. Whereas the 6505 Plus, it is just a bit more tamped down in the high end, even with the presence almost maxed. It's just crazy. And the mid-range is just way more present on the actual amp itself. I dare to say I might actually even like the profile of the mids on this a little bit more. I think you can bump up some of the mids and still get a pretty good tone. It just has a more modern kind of workable tone in the room. With the OG 6505, what it does have, which is kind of nice, is kind of the reaction to the pick and kind of the feel of it is really cool in the room. But I think like overall sound wise, I'm digging the Synergy just a little bit more. And, you know, it also kind of highlights the fact that it's not 100% accurate to the, you know, the original thing. In fact, it's enough different that I wouldn't say, hey, this will definitely replace your 6505, but it's going to sound good. And that's kind of the same thing with the DRECT module. There are times where it reminds me of the old school dual rectifier, but there are definitely some tones you can squeeze out of the Synergy modules that kind of go beyond the original, inspiration. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of look at these Synergy modules. I actually think they're really cool. I actually think this unit is a really nice unit, not to mention the fact that it does have the ability to run IRs to front of house or to whatever DAW you're using, or reactive load. There is, a way to store your settings, per module. And it's just really easy to kind of unscrew these things, pull it out, pop a new one in. For the cost of like a really high-end pedal per module, you could have multiple amplifier types that you could run at any given time. And they even make a big boy version of this, which has like 6L6 tubes that has 2 banks that you can put modules in and switch between the two. So overall, I just think this is a very usable and very nifty thing to have for anybody who's looking to just have a do-it-all kind of tube amp and is not ready to go all the way full like digital modeling. So that's my spiel for today. Let me know what you think about the Synergy stuff, and I'll see you guys later.